Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. Many of you probably know that there were a couple features in the beta version of Photoshop, specifically Generative Fill and Generative Expand, that are now out of beta and in the current version of Photoshop. Since that has happened, I've received a ton of email from photographers asking me questions about Generative Fill and Generative Expand. Most specifically about generative credits. Is Adobe charging us for use of Generative Fill and Generative Expand? Well, I'm going to answer that question and many others in this video. But before I do, I just want to mention very quickly, many of you probably know that I usually do a video every other day. Well, I haven't done videos for several days. That's because I was putting the finishing touches on my Ultimate Lightroom Classic Training course. Right now, the course consists of 60 videos. It's over 10 hours of video instruction. Each of the videos has a downloadable PDF outline, and you'll be able to download all of the raw files that I use in the videos. I specifically said that right now, the course consists of 60 videos. That's because I'm going to be continually adding to the course so that if you buy it, it will be your ultimate source for Lightroom training forever. I have the course set up to be beneficial to those who are new to Lightroom Classic and those that have experience in it. If you're brand new, jump down to the quick start section where you'll get up and editing in no time. If you have more experience in Lightroom, jump to any topic that interests you and watch the video for that topic. Download the PDF outline and the files I use in that video to work along with me at home. I'll have a link to the course in the description below this video, along with the discount code. Okay, Generative Fill and Generative Expand. I mentioned that they're now in the current version of Photoshop, specifically Photoshop 2024, confusingly version 25. Let me explain. If you look at my Photoshop top left-hand corner, you can see it's Photoshop 2024. If I go to About Photoshop, you'll see it's version 25. So make sure you're using version 25 or later, depending on when you're watching this video, to ensure that Generative Fill and Generative Expand are actually in your Photoshop. Now, for those of you not familiar, what is Generative Fill, let's say? Well, Generative Fill allows you to select a part of an image and you can fill it in. You can fill it in with whatever you want. For example, I have this image and let's just say I want to get rid of the car. I just want to fill it in with something natural so it looks natural. I don't want to put anything specific in there. I just want to get rid of the car. So what you would do is you would get a loose selection of the car. And you most often would do that with the lasso tool. You would take the lasso tool and do a loose selection. When I say loose selection, I mean loose selection. So you come up like this around the car and get the selection. So now you have the marching ants. Once you do that, if you look at the contextual taskbar, and let me move it up here, you'll see there's a Generative Fill button. Now, some people have said, well, as soon as you click that button, you're going to be charged a generative credit. That isn't true. All right, I'm going to click the button and I'm not being charged a generative credit yet. What happens is the contextual taskbar inconveniently repositions itself to the bottom, but let me pull it back up here. Now you'll notice it's asking me, well, what do I want to put in there? So I can put something in there. I could put like 3 geese. So it'll take the car out and put in 3 geese. Or in my case, I don't want to put anything in there. I just want it to look natural. So in that instance, I won't type anything in here. And then I'll click Generate. This is where I'll get charged that credit. So I'll get charged right now, and it's sending the image up to Adobe servers. Whenever you send the image to their servers to use any Generative Fill or Generative Expand feature, this will happen. You'll get charged that generative credit, and you'll get 3 examples. Here's the first, here's the second, here's the third. I like the third one. But I have these 3 examples or variations. I wasn't charged 3 credits. I was just charged the single credit. Now, what if I don't like any of these 3 though? Like that first one, the window looks funny. The second one, like everything looks kind of bent. And this third one, I have this line going across here. What if I don't like any of those then? Well, I could click Generate again. I just got charged another credit because they're sending the image up to Adobe servers. Adobe servers is doing the Generative Fill on it, and then it will come back with 3 more examples. So during this whole process so far, I got charged 2 Generative Fill credits. And here on this one is that example, and that example. Okay, now that one I kind of like. So I've used 2 generative credits to get this done in this example. Now, what about generative expand? Now, generative expand is done. Let's say, let me make that a little smaller. I go to the crop tool, let's say, and I want to clear my crop, and I just want to expand out that way, expand out that way, expand out this way, and expand down a little. All right, see all these blank pixels? How are you going to fill that in? Well, this is where generative expand comes in. Now, if I go up to this drop down right here and I go to generative expand, I have the option. You can see the contextual taskbar. Now it says, well, what do I want to put in there? Well, I'm not going to put anything in there. I just wanted to make it look natural. I'll click generate. I just got charged another credit. Sending the image up to Adobe servers, and it now will fill in those blank areas, all that black area, with what it thinks would make the image look natural. And there's one variation. There's a second variation, and there's a third variation. So in the first one, she's wearing pants. In the second one, she has on a skirt, and the third one, a skirt. I'm assuming a skirt, not a dress, but it looks like a skirt. So in the street light, I think is different in each of them. Kind of like that one with the double light. So that's generative expand. And through this whole process now, I got charged 3 generative credits because for generative fill, I clicked generate twice. And for generative expand, I clicked it once. Now, do they charge us for these credits? No. Depending on what subscription you have with Adobe, you'll get a specific number of generative credits per month. And I did go to Adobe's website and I did a screenshot of this. And I'll have a link to this in the description below this video. You can see that if you subscribe to all the Creative Cloud apps, you'll get 1,000 credits a month. And I subscribe to all the apps, and it's like $57 a month, something like that. So it's not cheap. But I'll get 1,000 monthly generative credits. They're not carried over month to month. So if I don't use all of them in a given month, they're not cumulative. The next month, I'll just reset to 1,000. If you subscribe to any of these apps all by themselves, like Photoshop's included, you'll get 500 generative credits per month. And again, they're not carried over month to month. If you, and I think most of you fall in this category, subscribe to the photography plan, that's where you subscribe to Photoshop and Lightroom together, you'll get 250 credits a month as long as you were a subscriber before November 1st, 2023. After November 1st, 2023, you only get 100 a month. So if you're not a Creative Cloud subscriber, but you're thinking of subscribing to the photography plan, make sure you do so before November 1st so you get 250 a month instead of the 100 a month. I'll have a link to Adobe's website in the description below this video. Now, if you just subscribe to Lightroom, I guess some of you do, you'll get 100 per month, which is a bit confusing to me because generative fill, generative expand, they're not available. Those features aren't available in Lightroom. So I don't know how you'd be able to use it. So this might be a hint of a new feature that's coming to Lightroom. Maybe generative fill and or generative expand in the future will be coming to Lightroom, and they will give you 100 credits per month if you subscribe to Lightroom alone. As of right now, though, those features aren't available in Lightroom. Now, if you subscribe to any of these apps in Copy, Substance 3D, Texturing, Acrobat Pro, you'll get 25 credits a month. Now, what happens if you use all your credits? Can you still use generative fill? Yeah, you'll still could use it. They're not going to charge you extra for it, but they will throttle you and or put you at the end of the queue, meaning if they have, it's really busy, they're getting a lot of generative fill requests or generative expanded request. Anyone that is using a credit goes to the front of the line. Anyone that doesn't have a credit goes to the back of the line. And if you are doing it a lot, they'll slow you down. They will throttle you. So you'll go slower. Now, can you buy more? Well, yes. Let me escape out of this. There's another thing I screenshotted from their website. We'll jump down here and you can see that generative credit limits will be enforced. First of all, that's important to know. These credits, like today I said, I'm doing this in September of 2023. And I mentioned I just got charged a generative credit. Well, technically I didn't. They're not going to enforce these credits till November 1st, 2023. All right. And Paid users either experience slower use of the features or receiving a daily generation cap. So they will cap you after a certain number that you do. So they will make you go slower, and they might even cut you off if you keep doing a lot. They'll cut you off for the day. So you'll have to wait till the next day. But you can get more, but it's a subscription. For $4.99 a month, you'll get 100 extra credits. So it's not like a one-time buy. That I'm not so sure I like, because I could see someone having a big project that they're doing and they need to use Generative Fill like a bazillion times, and they would prefer to just buy a bulk number of credits for X number of dollars so they could get their project done. Well, they can't. They have to subscribe for basically $5 a month to get 100 more credits per month. So that's that. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But realistically, I'm not sure that most of us will even come close to going over our credits. If you subscribe to the photography plan before November 1st, 2023, as I mentioned, you'll get 250 credits a month. That's quite a few. So I'm not sure you'd have a problem with going over. So they are generous, I guess, in the initial batch you're getting. It's just I'm not so sure that charging you $5 a month subscription to get 100 extra a month, I'm not so sure that's cool, but it is what it is. The other thing you may have noticed, I'll just touch on this very quickly. When this was in beta, the maximum resolution you could get for Generative Fill was 1024 by 1024, meaning your selection, when you use the lasso tool, say, and you did a selection, if it was any larger than 1024 by 1024, they still would fill it, but they would stretch or expand what they were giving you for your Generative Fill to fit the area you selected. And that might be blurry because they're stretching it out, making it larger and changing the resolution in a way that would make it look blurry. Well, they've increased that to 2000 by 2000 pixels. So if your selection is 2000 by 2000 pixels or less, you have nothing to worry about. If it's any larger than that, Generative Fill will still work, but again, it might be blurry. So just be aware of that. So those are the very common questions that I've been receiving about Generative Fill and Generative Expand. Hopefully I adequately explained them. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really do appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.